Are they going to use government money, government resources? The transition has refused to sign any memoranda of understanding. And he's saying these are normally mundane agreements. Guess what? We're not doing things anymore the way you want us to. The transition already has existing security and information protections built in, which means we will not require additional government and bureaucratic oversight. Get out of here. We don't want your garbage. President Trump now signs a key transition agreement with the Biden White House, and there's been a lot of back and forth over this. Trump not wanting to use the FBI, for example, to do background checks, because why? Well, the FBI is corrupt. And what are they going to say? Probably, Russian, see, and make up a bunch of garbage that Trump doesn't need. So the question has been, are they going to use government money, government resources, sign these documents and comply? So far, Trump has said no. In fact, even during the campaign, he was explaining that he does not want the briefings that were coming to him, because they would just say he'd leak it when they would leak it, and then they'd blame him for it, and then they'd probably indict him again and raid his house and go through Melania's closet again. But now they're making some progress, and we do have the ethics document that the Trump transition people are signing as part of this team. And so here's what NPR tells us. They say, quote, this engagement, they say after a significant delay, a lot of people have been upset about this, by the way. So Elizabeth Warren fired off a letter just a few days ago to the General Services Administration, and she says, President-elect Trump, at least she got the title right. They can't figure that title out at the DOJ. They keep calling him defendant. It's defendant president-elect, okay, punks? They say Elizabeth says Trump is undermining his own ability to effectively manage national securities, emergencies, and health crisis, saying the transition has refused to sign any memoranda of understanding. And saying these are normally mundane agreements, and since their creation, no prior president-elect has refused to sign one. Guess what? We're not doing things anymore the way you want us to, Elizabeth. All Americans share an interest. They say Trump and his team's unprecedented refusal, get ready for that word again, to sign agreements with the outgoing administrations threatens the American public. And they've also refused to publish an ethics plan, which they have now, increasing the risk that they're going to be taken advantage of or something. Saying under the Presidential Transition Act, they're required to do these things. Trump's ethics plan should have been published before. And furthermore, in order to establish an orderly transfer of power, Elizabeth Warren is having a meltdown. This risk is not hypothetical. The 9/11 Commission found that the delayed transition of George Bush contributed to the 9/11 attack. I'm sure that's what caused it. Yeah, I'm sure the delay in the transition caused 9/11. Okay, what specific expectations? So she sends a bunch of questions. Signed here by Elizabeth Warren, whose signature looks a little bit more adult than Jack Smith, so that's good. But that's what she sent out. She put a whole press release about it. I can't believe he's not signing these documents. Well, he has now. So they say Susie Wiles, who is Trump's chief of staff, came out and said, well, this engagement allows our intended cabinet nominees to begin critical preparations, including the deployment of landing teams to every department and agency and complete the orderly transition of power. Now, the memo of understanding, they say, was supposed to be signed by October 1st, along with an MOU with the General Services Administration for funding, office space, and technology. The transition team said it has ruled out signing the GSA agreement. They're like, we're not signing that. Saying it would use our existing ethics plan for our team, and we're going to post it on our website, so we don't want your garbage plans. The transition already has existing security and information protections built in, which means we will not require additional government and bureaucratic oversight, the Trump transition team said in a statement, noting it would disclose our donors publicly. We're not signing your papers. Elizabeth Warren, through a hissy fit, said the announcement did not address our concerns, including that they use private donors to pay for this. There appear to be ethical gaps, she says. But now the MOU is signed. It authorized members of the Trump transition team. They can have access to White House employees, and they agreed on safeguards. While the White House would have preferred that the Trump transition team sign the GSA, it decided that a disruption to the transfer of power would be more risky. You see? Like, you have to sign our paperwork to start the transition, or we're not going to transition to you. Like, well, we're not signing it. Are you insurrecting us? Oh, you're refusing to transfer power, are you? They're like, no. Okay, all right. So then we're not going to sign the document. You're going to still give us the keys, right? Yeah, I guess so. A third agreement with the DOJ is required for FBI background checks and security clearances. Now, that agreement has also not been signed. So the FBI can say that everybody's a Putin stooge, right? They looked into somebody, then go get a FISA, then go spy on Trump again. Those background checks are traditionally required by the Senate during a confirmation process, along with an ethics agreement and responses to a detailed questionnaire. But Trump's not signing that one either. Get out of here. We don't want your garbage. Now, here is their ethics plan, which they have released. So this is from Trump. They say, all right, everybody, if you're going to be on this transition team, we expect the best of you because together we're making America great again, and clearly you'll abide by these terms. They say the Trump-Vance transition team agrees it will implement and enforce an ethics plan to guide the conduct of the transition, saying you're going to apply with the laws cited here, and you may not have any financial conflicts of interest with your business partner, spouse, or anybody. You're going to safeguard classified information. You're going to not share non-public information for private gain. You're going to disqualify yourself if you're engaged in lobbying activities over the last 12 months. If you have been a lobbyist, you're not welcome. No registered lobbyist may serve as a member of the transition team. Get out. Anyone who has been registered lobbyist must affirmatively delist themselves under the Lobbying Disclosure Act prior to joining the transition team. And so this is their code of conduct. And so the people who are going to be working on the transition, say, I so-and-so hereby acknowledge that I'm working on this. And so they'll sign this. I think in all my activities, I will abide by this, right? I will disqualify myself. If I have a conflict, I will disqualify myself. If I'm a lobbyist, I will not accept or solicit any money. I will understand that I am not permitted to make any representation on behalf of Trump. I understand that authorization is required from the transition co-presidents. I'll be confidential. I'll not use any non-public during my transition. I will not communicate or get compensation. If Trump wins the election, which he has, and I continue to work with the transition for 6 months, I will not, after 6 months, I will not appear and accept, looks like compensation. Anyways, you're not going to talk about what you worked on for 6 months. I will protect property. I will understand my commitment to abide by these regulations. I will not accept any gifts, and I'll buy the terms signed here by the Trump people. So this is probably what's in effect right now. I would imagine probably updated since he has won, but that's what NPR is sharing with us. Now, Elizabeth Warren, very unhappy about it. Another one from Hans Monkey says, the Trump and his transition team are not going to use government resources because they want to save money, is what they say. However, it's merely a smokescreen. What's really happening is that Trump has learned, saw what they did to General Flynn during the prior transition, exactly, as well as the fake briefing Trump got from Comey, which was used as a pretext to weaponize the Russian collusion hoax. This time, no involvement from the deep state, no bureaucratic hindrances, and most importantly, no spying. They said the White House MOU facts, they say the Trump transition team will not utilize taxpayer funding for costs related to this, which is consistent with Trump's commitment to save money. The transition will not use government buildings or technology provided by the government and will operate as a self-sufficient organization. This organizational autonomy means a streamlined process that guarantees the Trump administration is ready on day one. The transition already has existing security and information protections built in, which means we will not require additional government and bureaucratic oversight. The transition has an existing ethics plan for those involved, which will meet the requirements for personnel to seamlessly move into the Trump admin. Pursuant to the Enhancement Act, we'll post that on our website. The landing teams will quickly integrate directly into federal agencies and department with access to documents and policy sharing, and per the agreement, the transition will tell the Biden people who's coming in. The agreement dictates the Trump-Vance transition will utilize private funding again, providing cost savings to the American taxpayers. Donors to the transition will be disclosed to the public. Consistent with transition policy already in place, the transition will not accept foreign donations, and as we saw from their ethics document, there will be no lobbyists allowed inside.